H.
Why do you call him H? It's so dumb sounding.
She says one tap left eye and she can make herself cry on demand.
It's crazy. You're like, Meghan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
I knew her a bit. She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake.
Title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US.
His heart is even more beautiful.
Oh, but his heart is even more beautiful. This is so forced.
Pretending that she's crying, like we zoomed in just to see. There isn't a tear in sight. Look at
I know that I'm a great friend, and I know the kind of mom I am.
You're complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird. Well, they insist that you go along with their nonsense and their insanity and their fragility.
No.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
They're ridiculous.
Also a fox. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome.
And it's unacceptable, and it's just got to stop.
The beginning of that clip where she's like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
It's so inauthentic.
She's trying to sell herself as this wholesome mother who's baking cookies and making tea, but we all know that that's not the truth.
she is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
Bill Maher certainly did not mince words about Meghan Markle's recent appearance on Jamie Kern Lima's podcast. And folks, it turned into a remarkable critique that has genuinely sparked intense discussion online. This single appearance has triggered a huge wave of backlash, with nearly everyone seeming to have an opinion. Maher got straight to the point, highlighting the obvious contradiction of complaining while enjoying a life of extraordinary privilege.
Complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous. I totally agree.
That's what's so annoying about them. The most of all, they insist that you go along with their nonsense and their insanity and their fragility.
It's precisely that viewpoint that has so many people agreeing with Bill. He appears frustrated by the ongoing narrative of hardship when the reality seems vastly different to most viewers. Maher then reinforced his stance, essentially saying he refuses to go, along with what he views as attempts to make everyone accept their version of reality, regardless of how delicate or illogical it may appear.
The beginning of that clip where she's like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
It's so inauthentic.
Beyond Maher's observations, the podcast itself is being widely labeled as painfully awkward. It was intended to be a raw and authentic glimpse into her life, but many people simply are not convinced. The presentation felt unnatural to numerous viewers, almost like watching someone trying far too hard to sell a particular image.
First of all, she had the hair blown out. It was perfect. I do not believe that she was makeup-free there. She didn't have eye makeup on, which is a different thing.
This podcast wasn't merely a one-time mistake in many people's eyes. For many, it was classic Meghan, reviving the same familiar concerns. What exactly went wrong this time to spark such a strong reaction? Let's explore this whole authenticity debate, because that's where things truly began to unravel for many observers. One of the first things that caught attention was the claim that Meghan appeared for this podcast naturally and without makeup. However, that narrative was quickly challenged. Critics immediately noted that she looked a bit too polished for someone supposedly appearing spontaneously. First of all, she had her hair professionally styled. It looked flawless. Many simply did not believe she was entirely makeup-free.
Pretending that she's crying, like we zoomed in just to see. There isn't a tear in sight. Look at this.
So, the no makeup moment didn't really come across as authentic for many viewers. Then came the tears, or rather the absence of them, which became a major topic of discussion. She appeared emotional, but sharp-eyed viewers and commentators noticed something noticeably missing when they looked closer.
She says one tap left eye and she can make herself cry on demand.
It's crazy. You're like, Meghan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
What?
The notion of crocodile tears quickly began circulating, particularly because of her background as an actress. It's a well-known talent among performers to produce emotion on cue, isn't it? This sparked even greater doubt about whether her display was sincere or simply a carefully rehearsed performance.
So many of them call you M and Harry H.
Yes.
How did that start?
Probably at the beginning of us dating.
And it wasn't only the absence of visible tears. Body language analysts also weighed in. They suggested that her facial reactions and overall behavior during these supposedly emotional moments appeared staged and entirely artificial.
This is fake. She knows exactly when that happened. The eye search she's got going on there, that's forced and faked, as is the facial expression.
This Entire performance seemed worlds apart from the person many remember from before she entered royal life. Knew her, or at least followed her during her acting career, describe a very different version of who she was.
I knew her a bit. She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake. She was a real hard-nosed LA girl. Yeah. Now she's like this, oh, I'm soft, I'm mummy, I'm this.
That sharp contrast has led many to believe this current gentle and sensitive image is completely manufactured. To some, it feels as though she's portraying a character rather than revealing her authentic self, a stark contrast to the driven individual they observed in earlier years. This perceived shift reinforces the belief that what we're seeing now is a carefully designed public image.
I really think when she says she's overwhelmed, it just makes any other mother think, I'm sorry, you haven't lived a day in my life, huh?
6:30 in the morning on drop-off mornings for me. I'm not home till 9.
Boring!
But it's not only about appearances. The substance of what she discussed also raised significant concerns for critics, particularly regarding her personal struggles. This is where the podcast really seemed to frustrate people. When Meghan began describing her supposedly stressful and overwhelming lifestyle, for many everyday listeners, her complaints sounded completely disconnected from the realities faced by ordinary people.
Sounds like a normal day to me, Meghan. Waking up at 6:30 is not that intense. The rest of the world is waking up at that time.
The situations she described as major pressure, such as early morning school runs, are simply everyday responsibilities for countless parents. It's this disconnect that critics focused on, pointing out how her definition of hardship doesn't align with the daily challenges most people encounter, often without the extensive resources available to her.
Got to pack school lunches, then I might drive them to school, then I might manage my meetings after that.
Brush my teeth, get both of them up. I get them dressed, get them downstairs, make breakfast.
Talking about it as if she was about to sink underwater from the pressure. I just don't believe it. It's a normal daily routine.
She outlined her routine, speaking about preparing lunches and handling meetings, presenting it as a tremendous burden. Yet for many people, this is simply the normal balancing act of modern life, not some uniquely exhausting struggle. It makes her efforts to portray herself as overwhelmed appear somewhat performative. This ongoing discussion of being overstressed feeds directly into what many view as her preferred narrative, portraying herself as the victim. Critics argue she appears to
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim. There's nothing to be a victim about here, and there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle.
Constantly seeks sympathy, even when there seems to be little obvious reason for it, especially considering her privileged circumstances. It's a pattern that many find irritating. This
malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
Victim mentality remains a recurring theme in the criticism directed at her, with some commentators using particularly strong language to describe it. They view it as a calculated strategy rather than a genuine reflection of hardship.
Trying to sell herself as this wholesome mother who's baking cookies and making tea, but we all know that that's not the truth.
And the examples of this alleged victimhood often strike critics as complaints about exceptionally privileged circumstances. There's a perception that she's continually lamenting situations that most people would regard as fortunate, further distancing those who see her life as anything but difficult.
The one thing she is dying to sell to us is relatability. The one thing she is dying for more than anything is for us to love her.
Alongside this, the image she attempts to present as a warm, down-to-earth mother also faces scrutiny. Many believe this persona is simply another carefully crafted facade that doesn't fully align with the reality of who she is, or how she conducts herself.
When you were saying, like, do you want to just do like cozies and no makeup? I like the idea of like, okay, great, let's let them see us.
Stop it with this. We're just sitting in our living room, in our cozies, barefoot, spilling our secrets.
This ongoing portrayal of adversity while attempting to promote a particular, often unconvincing image causes many to question what her true intentions really are. So if the hardship narrative fails to connect, what about Meghan's other major effort? Trying to appear relatable. Critics argue she's almost desperately attempting to sell the idea that she's just like everyone else, approachable and down to earth. But for many people, it simply doesn't feel authentic.
Everything they do seems so manipulative, calculated, PR motivated, money motivated.
This strong desire for relatability often comes across as highly manufactured, as though she's wearing a persona that doesn't quite suit her. These carefully orchestrated moments designed to make her seem ordinary achieve the opposite result, drawing attention to the perceived strategy behind them. That sense of trying too hard that leaves people doubtful.
She's not important. She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled. She became a, quote, princess.
And what's driving this constant push for a particular image? Well, many commentators believe it ultimately comes down to calculated planning, public relations, image management, and, of course, financial interests. They suggest that every move appears less about genuine connection and more about carefully developing a personal brand.
She went over to get herself a prince to give her access to this lifestyle that she would have never had access to.
The accusation that financial benefit was a key motivation, especially regarding her royal marriage, continues to persist. Some critics are direct, suggesting she knew precisely what she was doing when she secured such a high-profile match, so to speak.
These people were so mean to us. We don't want all this attention. And then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
This connects to the belief that she pursued a prince in order to gain access to a level of influence and lifestyle that her own career had not provided. Critics argue that this ambition undermines claims of simply wanting a normal and contented life.
She doesn't use it for public gain or commercial gain, but in private she uses it? How cringe and tacky is that?
Then there's the obvious contradiction that Bill Maher and others have highlighted. They frequently speak about wanting privacy and criticize media intrusion. Yet, they continually place themselves in the public eye through books, podcasts, documentaries, and interviews. It's this desire to have it both ways that fuels much of the public frustration.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex.
This relentless branding effort and perceived lack of authenticity have not gone unnoticed, not only by commentators but also by the wider public, especially regarding her royal associations. Then there's the entire issue of royal titles, which Meghan appears reluctant to abandon despite stepping back from official duties. The use of Her Royal Highness, or HRH, particularly in private settings or on branded materials after reportedly agreeing not to use it, has frustrated many observers. It simply doesn't sit well with them.
Title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US.
In fact, there was an incident where she was reportedly seen using the full title on a personal gift.
Now, to top it all off, she is literally using HRH in private, which is just even weirder.
This sort of behavior strengthens the perception that she wants all the advantages of royal status without accepting the responsibilities or scrutiny that accompany it.
That is just like all the confirmation that I need that this woman is just obsessed with being a royal, that is all this was all about.
For many, using such a formal title in private situations is even more unusual and revealing than using it publicly. It suggests a deep-rooted desire to identify with that status, almost as though she cannot detach herself from the label. This kind of conduct causes critics to question her intentions even further.
Being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
It leads some people to the unavoidable conclusion that this attachment to royal status is far more than casual. They believe it reflects a core part of her ambition, suggesting that obtaining and preserving a royal connection was always the ultimate objective for her.
What do Americans really think of Harry and Meghan? We despise them.
And this theory of a long-term plan isn't simply based on speculation alone. There have been rumors and even claims from individuals reportedly familiar with her past suggesting that her ambitions were focused on royalty long before she ever met Harry.
There's some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time. There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s. Wow.
All these perceived affectations, the title controversies, and the stories of calculated decisions have undoubtedly influenced how the public, particularly in America, reportedly views them. For many people, the overall sentiment is far from enthusiastic.
Here is what I think about Meghan, because I think she's a malignant narcissist who is a truly terrible person.
Beyond these concerns, there are even more controversial and sensational rumors that have surfaced over the years, often discussed quietly or within certain corners of the internet. For example, there has been unverified speculation, referenced by figures such as Joe Rogan, connecting her to very questionable circles from her past. These are serious allegations.
All the young women in particular who work for her quit in tears. She so wore them down and was so nasty.
And it's important to emphasize that they remain speculative and unproven.
This woman has zero self-awareness, and she is never going to go away.
This fixation on status and the apparent disconnect from public sentiment creates an image that many find deeply unappealing, leading to sharp personal Criticisms. The criticism doesn't stop at her public behavior. Some commentators have made extremely severe accusations regarding her personality, with terms such as malignant narcissist being used. These are significant labels that imply a deeply troubling pattern of conduct.
Searching for something to like about her. She suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
These strong accusations are often linked to ongoing rumors and reports concerning her behavior behind the scenes, particularly with staff. There is a long history of stories alleging that she is extremely difficult to work for, intimidating, and responsible for leaving behind a trail of dissatisfied former employees.
If you don't like her, it's not your fault. It's because she's extremely unlikable. She has the non-it factor.
This reported behavior leads many to wonder whether there is a fundamental lack of self-awareness involved. Critics suggest that she appears entirely unaware of how her actions are perceived or the negative impact they may have on those around her.
Very private letter that Harry wrote about Meghan that they're going to share on this podcast.
Suggesting that her core issue may be an inability to simply come across as genuine or relatable on a basic human level. It's this perceived lack of authentic connection that makes it difficult for people to warm to her.
So happy for my wife, fully support absolutely everything she's done and continues to do.
That's sweet.
That's sweet. How are you, Meghan? How are you?
You know, Meghan, how are you?
If I'm Meghan, I'm like, your voice is driving me crazy and I'm about to jump over there and put my fists down your throat.
Perspective argues that if people find her unlikable, it may not necessarily be due to bias or prejudice. Instead, critics suggest it could stem from an inherent quality, or lack, of one that makes it difficult for many people to connect with or trust her. It's as though she's missing that essential quality that naturally draws people in. Even the podcast host, who was supposedly there to support Meghan, faced criticism for seemingly reinforcing the narrative. Critics felt the host's interactions were excessively flattering and failed to challenge Meghan in any meaningful way, making the entire conversation feel orchestrated. This overly admiring behavior from the host only intensified the awkwardness for many listeners. Rather than feeling like a genuine discussion, it seemed like a carefully managed public relations exercise, with the host acting as an unquestioning supporter, something many found difficult to watch. And it's not just her own comments. Even when she attempts to praise her husband, Harry, it often comes across as forced or performative to critics. The way she speaks about him sometimes feels as though she's trying too hard to promote an idealized love story.
Also a fox, if you haven't noticed. My husband's very, very handsome. H.
Why do you call him H? That's so dumb sounding.
These public displays of affection, including the pet name she uses for Harry, can sound awkward and insincere to skeptics.
His heart is even more beautiful.
Oh, but his heart is even more beautiful. This is so forced.
It all contributes to the impression that every aspect of her public image is carefully managed and, for many observers, not entirely convincing.
Take a hint from the Queen, the recently departed.
Never complain, never explain, and rarely be heard speaking in public.
So after all this, what's the bigger picture? What does it reveal about celebrity authenticity and the narratives we're presented with? Let's bring everything together. What we've witnessed is a consistent pattern of criticism directed at Meghan Markle, especially highlighted by that widely discussed podcast appearance that prompted commentators like Bill Maher to speak out. The central complaints involve a perceived lack of authenticity, a persistent victim narrative that doesn't align with her privileged circumstances, and branding efforts that many view as desperate or disconnected from reality.
The Brits are onto you. America's onto you. The world at large is onto you. You're never going to convince anyone that you're authentic.
If anything, Meghan's situation serves as a striking cautionary tale for modern celebrity culture. It's a lesson about the risks of trying to meticulously craft an image in an era of instant information and perhaps the consequences of relying too heavily on a victim narrative until it loses credibility. The harder she appears to work to control
behavior
the narrative, the more it seems to slip away from her, often producing the opposite effect. It's a difficult challenge when audiences feel they are being influenced by a publicity machine rather than forming a genuine connection. The consequences appear clear: a significantly damaged reputation and a level of public skepticism that seems to increase with every new project. The constant discussion of her hard work often fails to resonate, especially when compared with the daily struggles faced by ordinary people.
It's too much for me. There's only small doses of that podcast I can consume.
Writing the newsletters and writing the social media captions and making sure that all that feels in line. The photography that we want to do. What do I want to wear for those shoots?
The work ethic must just be grueling. Writing social media captions, deciding what she's going to wear.
Ultimately, this entire story raises broader questions about celebrity authenticity in the age of social media. How much of what we see is genuine? And how easily can a carefully crafted narrative be dismantled by public perception and relentless online scrutiny? It demonstrates that authenticity, or at least a believable version of it, is essential. Once lost, it can be incredibly difficult to restore. In the high-stakes arena of public opinion, Meghan's performance appears to have left many critics and a substantial portion of the audience unconvinced. The applause, it seems, has largely faded. After all this, can Meghan Markle truly rebuild her public image, or is the damage lasting? What do you think comes next for her? Share your thoughts below.